There. We're live, everybody. Hey, welcome to the show. We're Adam on the U, and we may have a
Hello.
surprise guest. We may have a surprise guest later today.
Oh my God.
Maybe
Who's gonna
we may
be?
have we may have Riza from the Habana Saturday joining us. We don't
Oh,
know yet.
don't tell.
Yeah, but we'll see. But anyway, let's start the
He
show
will
for the
come like
fans.
a wave, like a crash again, I think.
I know it's great. All right, here, and Vicky's sick. That's why Vicky's not joining us today. She said she had a cough. What that really means is
Yes.
she's with her South Korean or North Korean lover, and she can't make it.
Yes.
And David is being fanned by Naked Tahitian Boys, so it's just the two of us, unless we have a surprise guest. So, as we say, here's
Which
the
we
show.
are also naked, but we
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Oh, and here we are. We're live, everybody. Welcome to the show. Hey, Adam, how you doing?
I'm okay. You?
It's another beautiful day in paradise. The whole
No?
world's about to
Another?
implode. Yeah, there you go. Very
Why you
excited.
say that? Why you say
Let's
that?
see. You got Israel and Iran
I
fighting.
didn't watch any news the last week since we.
Oh, really?
What
So
happened?
Israel and Iran or Iraq, I always forget because it's all the same. They begin with an I. They're bombing the hell out of each other for fun. What else is going on?
Ah,
Donald Trump is in Alberta, Canada for the G7 conference, telling them how they make a great 51st state. What else is going on? Well, the Knicks didn't make it to the NBA playoffs, so there's nothing to talk about in sports. F1 yesterday was great in Montreal. That was a good race. It was good to see some teams playing better than others. And what else is going on in the world? That's it, my friend. Other than that, the world's coming to an end.
shit.
There you go.
Why? Because
Why? I don't know. Why not?
Knicks didn't go to the final.
Nixon screwed it
Yeah,
up in
Knicks.
'72. No, because the New York Knicks didn't make it to the NBA championship. Yes, that's why the world's coming to an end.
How
But
they are?
being a Knickerbocker fan and being a Mets fan, you're just used to disappointment. So it's okay.
So you're used, yeah.
I'm used to my teams not going anywhere. It's so
It's
close, but yet
okay.
so far.
It's okay.
It's all right.
Next
Could be
year it
worse.
will be better.
Next, yeah, okay. Every
Could be
year is next
worse,
year.
yeah. Could they be
Could be
living
worse.
somewhere between Israel and Iran and somewhere
Yeah,
there in general?
that's Iran and Israel are bombing the crap out of each other right now. So
Yeah,
hopefully
that's
cooler heads prevail at some point. But Israel's like, we don't want you to have nuclear weapons, and Iran's like, we want nuclear weapons, and Israel's like, yeah, I don't think so. So we'll see.
yeah.
So we'll see how this plays out for a while. So and I
Well, I think
and Donnie
I
said
think they are
they're gonna
not
have to
getting
fight it out.
any. The truth is, because there are many voices there, and people
Mhm.
like to polarize very much. It's like one
Right.
side or the other side. And I tell the people, what the hell do we, I mean, to the Greeks or to other which are not from the region there, and I don't know, say, what the hell do we really know about that? and uh and to the
I mean
Greeks
that region.
sometimes, yeah.
They've been fighting for like a million years. They hate each other. Why, I don't know. And what the funny part is until about the 17th century or 16th century, Jews, Palestinians, and Christians all lived in peace.
Yeah, that's
And
what
then,
I
all,
tell you,
and
that
then
there
all of
was
a
a,
sudden, like 300 years ago, everyone's like, "Yeah, we're going to go kill you." Yeah,
yeah.
it's like, all right. It's
why
like
why
all of a
is
sudden.
why
A lot of it, one of the books I read said it had a lot to do with the Crusades and a lot to do with the church. So it was very interesting. But back in the day, you know, before technology, we seemed to all get along a little better there anyway. So, and
Yeah,
now
but
we don't.
it's a difficult escalation because it's a bigger scale now.
Oh, yeah, now it's a
It's
different
bigger
mentality.
scale.
Yeah.
It's the same scale of Ukraine and Russia in a way, maybe even
Yeah.
bigger. We don't know yet how it goes.
Yeah.
But
Putin's just going to bomb them until he runs out of bombs.
I'll tell you what I watch. I am not with somebody, but I try to to understand, always.
Right.
And the truth is that if I'm Greek, right, in Greece, and if there was a
You are.
country, yeah, and if there was a country like Turkey, and they
Yeah.
said that I don't want you to exist, I will do
Right.
everything and trying to make a nuclear bomb. I don't
Right.
want you to exist. You don't exist for me, Greece.
Right. Right.
I wouldn't like it.
Yeah. You don't think?
I
It's kind
wouldn't
of
like it.
it's kind of bad when someone's like, "Yeah, I don't want you to exist." Yeah, it's okay. So
Exactly. Yeah.
it's
Because yeah, because there are a lot of people saying, oh, the misinformation from the media and everything, and I
right.
say, okay, so let's go to the source
Right.
of the Iranian policies, and let's see what they say. And they say the same thing, that
Yeah, they
Israel
don't want
shouldn't
Israel to
exist.
exist. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Right.
shouldn't exist, and
Yeah.
that
So
says it all. I
that's
mean,
that's a problem. That's an issue.
yeah, I
So
mean, look, as I say, I tried from different angles. I'm not going to go into a talk about how the Iranians are having the fight with Hamas and Palestine and how many
right.
victims are there. Yeah, there are. This is for sure. I wouldn't
Right.
agree maybe with the style of warfare there, or something like that. But I understand the war. I understand the
Yeah.
war. I mean, from both sides, and it's both existential um, fight. But if you zoom out, you will see a tiny country
Hmm.
which is amongst very other nations which are Arabs actually, and this tiny country is actually fighting all the countries altogether. And they are saying, a lot of people are saying that oh, the Israeli country state is like armed and everything. Well, they have to be. I mean, what else? What else should they not be? Should
Well,
there
I
be
think
Israel if they didn't have arms? If they were prepared for fight, that wouldn't be Israel, right?
yeah,
I think that
I
Israel is looking at itself also, but
of
I
course
from a point of view outside,
Israel needs to be armed. I agree with that 100%. I think um, Netanyahu is an interesting leader, and I think it's a matter of it's kind of like when Trump went over there and said we're going to make Gaza into a resort town. I think that didn't help. So you got
that was bullshit, of
Iraq.
course.
Well, we're hoping. You got Iran, who's like, we shouldn't exist. Period. That's a problem. I mean, so Israel's like, all right, you want to play that game? And remember, this is a country back in the '60s that did the 6 Day War. Like they kicked everybody's butt in 6 days. Like their air force, their army, so
Yeah, yeah.
Israel's it's not like this little pussy country. It may be small, but their military and their the spooks are us boys at the Mossad, they're not little wimpy people. I mean they'll take you out. They
Well,
went
they
after
cannot
all the
afford it.
terrorists in 72. Yeah,
Is
they
what I
have to be
said. They
strong.
cannot afford
Yeah,
it, because if they could afford it, they wouldn't exist. This is
that's
existential
true.
fight for the
I agree.
Israel for sure.
Yeah.
It's also at the same time existential fight for Palestinians, of course, but it's
Yes.
also now existential for the regime in Iran now.
Yeah. Well, now
It
they're
is
trying to
also
make a point.
existential fight for Hamas. For
Right.
it's an existential fight between many countries. Should
Yeah.
they exist? I think they should, as long as they don't cause
Really, you think
problems to
Hamas
each
should
other.
exist? You think Hamas
Well,
should exist?
not in the way they are, of course. Not
Oh,
in the
okay, I was
way.
gonna say, yeah,
If
that
they
would
if
sound
they
good if you
turn
said.
into a political only
Yeah, yeah,
kind of, you understand what I mean?
yeah.
That rules not with arms or killing or
Right, right,
I don't know, doing all these things that they do, because they do bad things to, first of all, to their people.
right.
First of all, to their people, it's
Their
it's
own
obvious.
people.
When this,
Yeah,
yeah, because when this happened, 7th of October, I knew it's gonna be fucked for
yeah,
Palestinians. We knew it, but they knew it also. Since
yeah.
they knew it, it's, in a way, you can say that Israel is saying that, okay, we started bombing Iran, and we knew that
Mhm.
we knew that we're gonna face consequences with the
Right,
bombing. Now they knew it.
right.
Yeah, but I don't see putting people in front of. But what about, anyway? What I've seen up to now, that Israel has very sophisticated way of warfare. I mean, they've been
Yeah,
planning it for a long time.
four
That
months.
means that, yeah. Oh, I think it was for years even. Maybe
Well, no, they
the
said that
specific.
this last attack, they were planning for 3 or 4 months.
Okay, but they were psychologically prepared for this for a long time. They knew it would happen.
1947.
Yeah, I
Since
knew that they would happen.
1947.
So the time has come.
Right.
They take them. Look, it's in a way. I always try to see it, outside, as zoom outside. It is connected with the Russian Ukraine stuff. It is
Mhm.
connected in general, with the rising East trying to form some kind of union, first economically and strategically union, against the West and stuff like that. And here, because there are a lot of people saying, "Oh, the Russia is fighting the NATO." It's not fighting
Right.
NATO. Look, here we have a country using NATO's weapons and their own, Israel, but also a lot of NATO's arms. And look what they've done. I mean, in 2 days they have done a lot of stuff
I think
without.
no, Israel has its own stuff. I don't think it uses any NATO stuff. I think it uses some stuff from us.
I
But
mean,
you said
American
something
stuff.
interesting.
American
Well,
stuff.
we make the we
Yeah.
don't you know what we make the best stuff according to Donald Trump. The best, the biggest. It's the best. You say a union against the West. So what would that look like? So just say one day Russia and China control the world. What does that look like then? Nothing different than we have today. If tomorrow,
No, much
because
worse, I would say. Much worse.
really,
Because
you think
some
so?
villains will come to power. Yeah, puppet state will become
Well,
puppet
no.
states of
If China
those.
takes over the world, it's not a puppet state. If Russia takes over the world, it's just basically a
No,
stronger
Russia
version of
cannot
what
take the
Trump's
world. I
doing.
mean,
The Russian
it
can't do
cannot.
anything.
Yeah,
Russia's make believe. So the only competition right now that we have in the United States, if you're looking at a world dominance, I think would be China. I
yeah,
think
only
China
China.
has. I think China
China
has.
is the leader of the East, and the United States is the leader of the West. But
Okay.
there are stuff going on in the West now. We can see that. Because
Right.
I don't know what's going on. We can see that Trump is doing a lot of favor to Putin. So does he want to take Putin into his side? Understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, he's making it bad with the Europeans. But the Europeans are needed. I mean, they have money also still, and they're
But
gonna
the
have money for some
Europeans,
long.
yeah. But the Europeans, it's funny. Donald doesn't think we need anybody. The way his policies and the things that he does. And that's fine. I mean, if he wants to go back to isolationism, which he's kind of doing, but I will say, like I said, I've said this before, a lot of his stuff I agree with. It's just the way that he does it. Some of it I
Yeah,
definitely
but
don't
the
agree
way
with.
matters, a lot.
Oh, the way I'm just yes, it's the way it's like Teddy Roosevelt said, carry a big stick and speak softly. Donnie never read that book. Donnie read the, carry a big stick and beat the shit out of everybody and make them submit to your will. So everything he's done, there is a way to do it properly and get it done quietly and then go look what we've done. And I always use the Al Gore example because when Al Gore was vice president, he cut the budget by 170 billion or whatever it was, kind of what Doge did, but without fanfare and without disrupting services and having people go like you
Yeah,
suck.
but he's making a show. It's what he
Yeah,
knows.
but
He's a
yeah, right.
showman.
I know, I got that because he had a television series. But the problem is that you can't have. This isn't NBC. This isn't The Apprentice. This has real world consequence. Like your show, The Apprentice, has no consequence. It has a consequence for those 10 people. That's it. Nobody cares. Or the celebrities that are on for their charity. But at the end of the day, when you do stuff here, it matters globally. So
It
that
does.
it's kind of like you have to think through it. And now that he has no adults in the room, like last time, the first time we had him, he had people in the room that'd be like, "No, you really can't do that. Can't really do that. We could do this. You can't do that." Now he's got everybody that are just yes men and women that go, "Whatever you say, Your Highness." And that's kind of bad too, because now there's no monitoring of what he's doing.
Yeah,
You know,
that's why we see escalations also. It was supposed to. They were saying that when Trump comes, no war will. Yeah, but he didn't start any war. Well, we see more
Well,
war.
apparently we have the Russian. He thought the Russian Ukraine thing was going to put to bed his first day in office. Well, he hasn't. And then Israel and Iran are doing their thing. So and then over the weekend we had the military parade on Flag Day. That was interesting. And then we had marches. They had no King March, which I thought was also
Yeah,
interesting. And
of
I'm
course.
I'm I'm 50-50 on the military parade. To one extent, seeing tanks in the street, kind of like not too good. But to another extent, it is the 250th birthday of our military. So, is it bad to say, look at us, look how proud we are now? If we don't do it again, as long as we don't do it every year, once in a while, is it like little cities would have military parades, and no one says
Yeah,
a
but
thing.
something, we have military parade also, and I think we have also a student parade. It depends on
Okay,
there are two occasions. It depends on what we have.
right.
It's an outdated tradition. It really reminds the king,
Cold War.
sitting, and
Yeah.
you don't unite the nation like this. And it was obvious from the parade. I didn't
Well,
see the
that's
soldiers even very
happy.
comfortable parading,
Uh,
and it doesn't have any meaning. What's the meaning of it?
well, I mean, I know they do it in Russia, and I don't know if they do it in China. Yeah, they do it in China once in a while, but I know
Of
they do it
course
in
they do
Russia.
it in
So I
China.
think the problem is as Americans as a whole looked at the parade as, oh, they do that in Russia or they do that in China. That's not democracy. But like I said, for our 250th birthday, sure, why not have a parade? Who cares? Maybe you didn't have to have tanks rolling in the street and all this stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure they could have done it.
man, there are
They could have done
so
it
so
once
many
again.
other things going on. I
Right.
mean, we're
But
on
you could have
fire
done
in
it once again.
general.
You could have done it better and differently and gotten the same result. Instead, what got more press coverage was the No King March. Like the 5 million people running around, nonviolent, with just like no sign, no king, no king, no king. Someone sent me a video somewhere in Pennsylvania. There was a motorcycle gang was, on I guess the king on the military side, and the normal people weren't. And some of the motorcycle members came up to the pedestrians, and they were just like, rah, rah, rah. And some of the motorcycle gang members, we went over and said, no, 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 we're going to keep it divided. And they before even the police, it was in Detroit, before the police even got there, the head of their gang, I guess, was like, no, no, keep this 10-yard distance, and we'll all be fine. So they kept their 3 meters, and they all protested and did their thing, and it was perfect. But we had peaceful protests or peaceful whatever with the signs. It was very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, millions of people went out. Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
but
it.
that's what I'm saying. So I think that has a lot to do with the tanks in the street thing. I think people are overblowing the tanks in the street. Now, if it happens next year, then no, they didn't overblow it. But like I said, 250th birthday of our military. Once again, nice to show the toys, but I don't want this to become Russia or China where it's an annual thing. Like, oh, look, here's what because that's you don't want people to get accustomed to seeing tanks in the streets.
No.
That becomes a bad thing.
Well, but
That's a whole nother
probably he
connotation.
wants. Maybe he wants because
I hope.
it's one of the his assets that he has. That, oh, I can take the army because order, and I
And now
decide
everything's
when it's needed.
and now everything's quieting down. Like there's, the immigration
Of
thing and
course,
the
because
ICE
that's
thing.
not the
Yeah,
problem in the world right now. I mean, the people are going out because they want to send a message, and
right. And they did. They sent their message, and
of
everyone's
course they
going back
did.
to
Of course
normal.
they
Yeah,
did.
LA
Now,
is getting back to
if he will
normal.
listen to the message, okay. If not, they came already once. They can do it twice, 3 times, 10 times,
Yeah.
and they need to be heard. So he's got to take his policies on
Well,
track
we
somehow.
hope. Yeah.
Well,
So
it's been a lot of craziness. I think he's got to get to his mind because things are getting more serious, and he's the president of the United States. I mean, there was
is
always
he
the
though?
president of the
Is
United States always had a power to control and things around the world. I mean,
we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. China's pretty strong too. I mean, not controlling things around the world, but economically they're doing very well. So
they're
you
controlling a
know,
lot of stuff.
yeah. But they
They're
do
controlling. That's
economic.
why.
They do economic blackmail. That's what they did in Australia when Australia sided with the U.S. on something. They said, "Okay, we're not going to buy any more of your wine," and then all of a sudden it was like, "Oh, that's not good." It's like we got to sell it to somebody. So they have financial might. It's just that they do it very quietly. I think, more quiet than what we do. We're
Exactly.
like
They do it
we beat our chest
exactly. They do it quietly, underground. They're doing it
above
quite
ground.
well, I think.
Yeah.
Because there were times we were saying, "Oh, Chinese, that means it's copy." They are not copying anymore. Okay, they copy, of course, but everybody does copy now from
Right.
every. But now they have developed their own technologies, which in
Mhm.
parts are more advanced than ours. Maybe we don't know. We don't know
That's their
what's going on
AI.
in this country.
Well, when they came out
And
with deep whatever, their AI thing, that woke up the whole globe because people were like, "Oh my God, China's almost ahead of the United States on AI." So like everybody was shocked that like no one knew this. So I think people we have a
well,
false
the AI
sense of
thing
ourselves.
is not one thing. I mean, there are many models developed. We don't know, and we have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, but I think Americans, and yes, America's great. So let's put that to the side. But I think Americans in our technology and our hubris, we say, look, everything we do is wonderful. We're ahead of everybody. No, not really. Korea's ahead of us in a whole bunch of stuff. Japan's ahead of us.
Yeah, it's not
China's
like it
ahead
used
of
to
us.
be.
It's not like we
Smaller
are.
countries, they have
Yeah, they kick
made
butt.
big
They get things
steps.
done.
You
Yeah.
you can see it. You can see it from the example of Israel. Also, Israel is
Okay.
an important country, not only from the point of weapons that it produces. It produces many things and many technologies and startups,
Mhm.
and it's got very high technology in general. They have got like, I think it was their invention, like the salt water, making it sweet water.
Desalinization.
Yeah, how it's called?
Yeah.
S- s-
Desalinization.
Desalinization.
The desal
Yeah, and
there's a company in
we
the
use it a
Netherlands
lot.
that actually just came out with one.
But
So
there are
yeah.
many new technologies that the country. That's what
Oh
I
yeah.
tell you. That it also, we saw it last week when we talked, that when we saw the attack from the Ukrainians on the bombarders with drones, and we
Right.
said also last time that smaller country now can make bigger damage with smaller
Hmm.
equipment, with cheaper equipment than it used to be.
Hmm.
The cheaper equipment has become more smart.
Yes,
That's
and
the
less
thing,
expensive.
that the smartness, the intelligence is becoming
Uh-huh.
cheaper and cheaper and used in more applications and robotics. Now that we are in this kind of revolution,
Yeah.
I hope everything goes well. It's a time where there are some bills to be paid. Kind of, I look at it in this way, and I hope it doesn't generalize, because if it generalizes, we're fucked
Right.
in general. So, yes,
We're generally fucked. Okay, got it.
yeah.
I think it's just interesting in
I
general.
think that the logic will prevail. Of
Okay.
course, it's logical to think that one country feels more stronger than the other and says, "No, I continue the war because I have gains." Like Russia is saying.
Right.
Russia could say, "Let's just start talking. Let's make a
But they don't
truce."
want to.
They don't want to, because they believe
Right.
that they can take a lot more.
Right.
And so that's also the Israel. It's logical to think this way. Well, since we started to mess around with all the shit, let's clean it all together. They are
Yeah.
thinking in this way, and it's the way it goes. It's logical. You cannot say it's not logical. It's very logical.
Right. Yeah.
But we need to
And
see, because Iran is, it's one big part. It's part of the BRICS. The
right.
the I think is
BRICS? No,
Iran,
it's
or
not. That's
is
India. No, no, no. That's
yeah.
India. It's not part of the BRICS. That's not BRICS. It's Brazil, Russia, India, and China. That's the BRICS.
Well, let's see, because I
I know
think
that.
that's
And so I do this for a living.
okay. Really? What do you do for a living?
I sit around and look pretty
Yeah.
all day. That's my job. Yeah, BRICS.
Yeah. But I thought
Brazil, Russia, India, and China.
recent expansion, 2024. So they are in the BRICS now, in the
It
extended.
doesn't matter that they're in the BRICS. They have nothing. So who cares? The real BRICS are powerhouses. Brazil,
But
Russia,
also
India, and
Egypt,
China.
Ethiopia, and United Arab
Oh,
Emirates have joined the
UAE. Now
BRICS.
that's a player, but they're not. UAE isn't going to do anything to piss off the United States because all the rich Americans are going there and putting their money and doing technology. So you don't want to piss off the US because that would hurt. And they're not going to come up with some second currency. They're trying to the UAE is big into crypto. So what they may try to do is come out with their own crypto, but everybody has crypto. Donnie has crypto. Donnie's wife has crypto. All the countries have crypto. Everybody's got everyone. You have crypto. I have crypto. We all have crypto. Like, oh, you want to buy an Atom coin? Yeah, here you go. I mean, everybody has crypto, but it doesn't mean anything because
Yeah,
it's
because
useless. It's just
well,
make believe money.
you know what's the whole thing behind it? It's that everybody makes up a crypto, like
Yeah.
an account on social account or something,
Right. Right.
It's like the artistic thing that we do. That if you
It's a
are,
meme. NFT.
popular,
Yeah.
you are going. Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of NFTs. If you are
Well, I
popular, you're
can't use
rising
it for
up.
any. If I can't use it for anything, it doesn't do me any good. If I have a crypto that I cannot use. Now, granted, people are taking Bitcoin and some other stuff. But once again, if all the governments tomorrow say, you know what, this Bitcoin thing, we don't like it because, and they won't because Trump's getting paid in Bitcoin. But if they go, we don't like it anymore because it's hurting our digital currencies, our crypto, like the U.S. real crypto, not this make believe U.S. stable coin, and not this and that. If China goes and India and they'll go, no, there's no, and Russia, no more crypto. Crypto is going to go, or Bitcoin's going to go from the 100,000 to zero really quick. So all these Bitcoin millionaire and billionaires are going to lose everything. And granted, banks now are putting cryptos into portfolios, hedge funds,
Oh, I
everyone's putting
don't.
crypto into it.
Yeah, it's a scenario, but it's not going to happen.
I
It's not going
know
to
it
happen
probably,
because everything is now, and you know those things better for now, some stuff like than me. I think everything is shared now all around. There's no that you invest
yeah, I
only
don't think
on
crypto's going in.
gold
I
or
don't
on
think it's
crypto
going
or on
anywhere.
stocks or on something.
Well, stocks
So
is that
if
stocks just
something
legalized for
fails,
gambling.
you don't lose everything. You go somewhere else.
Well, you don't put your 100% of your portfolio in crypto, but I
Of
think,
course,
some
some do,
people
but
are,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
I listen, it's just no different than a bond, a stock. Now, crypto is an asset class, which is fine. I was reading an article in pro- um, Professional Magazine. I can't remember the name. Professional Wealth Magazine this morning. It was talking about family offices and how they are breaking down their asset class. And it's very interesting because in the US, we break our asset class differently than just say Asia and this Europe and whatnot. Um, and a lot of family offices don't have crypto. They have other asset classes, but like there's like 1% of the family offices they polled have crypto. But like one of the guys in the interview said, it's like no more than like 2 or 3% of their portfolio. Like they're not betting the farm on crypto. It's just an asset class to have. It's like, in times of trouble, people buy gold. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we'll buy the shiny brick.
Yeah,
So they
but
buy the
we
gold.
have, in general, we are living in a times when there's a lot of offering, a lot of ideas,
What?
a lot of
And
stuff,
crypto
and
and whatnot?
no, no, no. In general, in the crypto is one of the
Oh,
offerings
you're
at
talking
this
about in asset
time, the
classes.
period. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
We
yeah,
have a
you
lot of
got it. Well,
assets
and
now.
and now that everybody's a billionaire, because nobody works anymore and it's all social media. So
Well,
you've
I
got
think people
real
are
estate,
still
you've got
working, and
yeah, no, nobody works. In America, it's all, can I tell you, it's like a North Korean facade. There nobody works. The government gives us millions of dollars every year per person, and it's all
you
robots.
see,
Anybody you see at a store, all
and you
robots,
didn't
not even
like
real
it. But,
people.
did this happen? Did this started with Trump, or it was before?
Long ago, we quietly replaced everybody. Nobody even knows. So
You
everybody is
see,
just a robot. When you go stores, all robots, and all the real people are shopping. That's the way it works, like in North Korea. So that's going to be the clip that somebody's going to take now. Go,
I
look, I
think that
told
in
you.
America are working more than in North Korea. No, in North Korea, they are probably working a lot too,
They're
but they're
working
also
too.
afraid.
Well,
They're
yeah,
also afraid not to say something
miserably.
wrong and something,
You can't. He'll shoot you. He takes you out and shoots you.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, in America, we still have a little bit of freedom of speech. They don't take you out and shoot you yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
coming,
that's
but not
that's a
this year.
lot because in Iran it doesn't happen, for example, right? We remember
Right.
because I laugh at the not irony at the double stands that some people have that oh we shouldn't what they're doing. Iran has never done anything to anybody. I see bullshit. It's done a lot,
Really?
and first of all, it has done a lot to its own people,
People,
right?
yeah.
We remember the women that were killed for because
Mhm.
hijab and stuff. Those practices are so fucked up. I mean, we don't see this. We don't remember this.
The
I
public
don't
has a
know.
short listen, the public has a short memory span. It has a 30-second memory span because that's a TikTok or an Instagram
That's what I
video.
tell them. Don't get
The
too much
Yeah,
fanatic with one side or the other side.
right.
Let's take a look, zoom out. What should there be or shouldn't there be? Should Iran has a nuclear weapon?
No,
Let's raise our exactly. So,
no.
but you don't wish it. You just don't wish it. If you
Here's the
see
problem
somebody
though.
doing it,
Nobody should have a nuclear weapon.
that's
Nobody.
right. That's
We
right.
should, nobody, in theory, there should be if we could have the utopia, like, like Tesla wanted, then there would be no wars. There'd be no famine. There would be no that. We'd have the free energy. You would have everybody, not you wouldn't have starving people. There'd be no poverty. You'd have a Shangri-La. There would be no need for a nuclear weapon or an army or this. Everybody would just get along. But unfortunately, humans, our nature is not to get along. Apparently, our nature is to fight and do playing football, a land acquisition game, right? In America, 10 yards at a time. So that's kind of what happens. So we have to have nuclear. So we have to have 3,500 nuclear warheads, and China has 2,000, and Russia has whatever they have. But we have to have that. So we have this mutual destruction. So you won't fire, because if you do, we fire. It destroys everything. And then if you give it to, and I'm not saying Iran would do this, but who knows? If they have nuclear and they shoot it at Israel, then Israel is going to unleash their nuclear arsenal on
Yeah.
Iran and probably some other places, just because, hey, what the hell? And then what ends up happening is everybody releases it. And then what happens? You have nothing. And
Yeah.
that's what no one seems to comprehend that. For some reason, they all think with their bunkers, and they're all going to survive and blah, 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 blah. But no one seems to get it that
No, they're
if
not
you
gonna
push the
survive,
button,
and even
that's
if
it.
they're gonna survive, what kind of they have the best of living right now in the normal Earth that we have,
Yeah.
right?
But in nuclear, you won't. It'll be
Well,
done.
you won't. You won't. You will
Yeah.
just survive every day like this until
And you
you're
won't be
40.
a leader if there's a nuclear holocaust
You're not, they're
globally.
gonna eat you. You're not a leader in a
Well,
place like that in a bunker.
cannibals will eat you. But I'm just saying, like, no one's going to listen to you at that point, because you destroyed your not only
No,
the
no, no.
world but your
When
country.
it starts bombing, that's the end.
I agree.
I've told it. I told it many times. I even say that even one is enough because one can
No,
disrupt
we already
totally
did that.
the
We've done that.
markets.
We've done two. It did nothing. And no one's learned from Japan from the 40s, because they forgot what that was like. You know what I mean? Like for Hiroshima and Nagasaki, no one's learned. Like, this is what happens when you drop a nuclear warhead. And now the nuclear warheads are bigger and more devastating. And nobody seems to put two and
But
two together.
it's like that. I mean, that's our nature. That if we have the worst destructive tool
We
that we
want to
can
play
have,
with it.
we will have it. We will
Yeah.
have it.
And
We
we want
might
to
not
use it.
use it,
Oh,
but we
no,
will
we want
have
to
it
use it. Yeah.
because we are afraid of the others. That the others will have it and they are going to
Right.
destruct. And
But
it's
that's
a
the whole
fear.
point, right? If we, we've said this before, if we just all got along, we don't need this crap. Like, there's no point to have
We don't
any of
need
this.
it.
Like, seriously, what do we need it for? What are we doing with it? Nothing. What do we need it for?
Look.
Nothing.
It helps. For example, a government like Russia, which is
Yeah.
not that strong. If you take economically Russia, etc., it's at the point of Italy only.
Right.
The
Collapse.
GPT, yeah, it's like
Hmm.
Italy,
Yeah.
and but they can bully everything around because they have nuclear. That they can destroy everything,
But see,
destroy
here's the funny
everything. You
part.
know.
Nobody's really afraid of them. If you think about it, the
Well,
only
there are a
thing
lot of
people
people
are
afraid. There are a lot of people
Now,
afraid.
the only thing I worry about with Russia is if Ukraine folds, they're going to roll into Poland, and NATO doesn't have balls to fight. That's what I worry about. But there's nowhere Putin is going to be dumb enough, and I'm assuming, because we talk,
Well,
he's dumb enough to go launch a nuclear strike.
you mean USA? If
No, no,
NATO,
no,
the
forget the
USA.
USA. No, no, no. Take the USA out of this for a second. If Ukraine would fold for whatever reason, right? Because Zelensky decides to wear a suit to make that reporter feel better. But if the Ukraine would fold for some reason, and Russia rolls through the Ukraine, Putin wants to bring Russia back to its former glory of the 18th or 17th, whatever. So he's going to go into Poland next. So then NATO, forget the United States for a minute, NATO then has to put on their big boy pants and go fight them. And okay, interesting. But will they? And to your point, I don't think Russia's stupid enough to use any nuclear, because then the NATO countries that have nuclear weapons would have to use their nuclear. Like,
Yeah.
if they decide, we're going to nuke the Ukraine, that's a warning sign
Yeah.
now
It's not from
for
the Russia
Europe. So
point of
Europe,
view. It's not only
yeah,
USA. It's also France. It's also UK.
UK, yeah,
Exactly. They have enough weapons to destroy Russia. Everybody has enough weapon. A lot of
to
a lot of
destroy
players have
everybody.
enough.
We can all
Yeah.
destroy
Yeah.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
because
but
we don't
that's
need
what's going to do that.
those thousands of nukes that they are there.
Right.
We
I-
just need the 100 is enough.
Yeah,
I
you
say
might
even
just
one, but let's say 100. 100 is enough. It's total end. I mean, even with 100, I think I don't know the science behind it, but I think even with 100 you have a nuclear winter. I don't know, but it's a total disaster because they will fall into big cities, and everything like that.
okay.
Okay,
Little cities.
it's this discussion doesn't have any point because it's not going to happen. Because, for
Bring
example,
up
you
you.
say that if they come to Poland, if they come to
Right.
Poland, there's I don't know if USA comes along, but for sure Germany is coming, France and
Yeah.
UK is coming. Those are coming. They will
What
not
side is
allow
Germany? The
Russia.
question is, what side is Germany going
Yeah,
to be on this
but
time?
this side this time it will be with a good side.
Let's
That's a
hope so. And
crazy.
see, and here's the funny part. What's good to one is bad to the other. What's bad to the other is good for the other. So you got to be careful with the good side. So I'm just,
But
it's
look,
interesting.
Soviet Union wasn't with the good
Mhm.
guys at the beginning. They had
Right.
an agreement with the Germans at the
Yeah.
so
And then Hitler decided to get crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. Hitler's like,
He
hey,
got
you know what would be fun? Let's attack Russia in the winter. They won't expect it. And Russia's like, you're right, because no one's that stupid. But no, feel free to come into our country and freeze to death. And there you go. So, so now the kidding before the
Russia
show,
is
you said,
too big and too far
I know
away. Too
it's
cold.
big, and oh my god, it's terrible. They're all living in Monte Carlo now.
It's
It's
endless. It's totally
yeah,
endless. I mean,
it is. It just goes
I
on, and
sometimes I tried because as I said, it's easy to take side and easily judge and stuff like that.
right.
Sometimes I try to imagine how people have lived. Have you seen? We talked it last time. Have you seen the memes with the AIs with the medieval people? Now you have ancient people that they
Yeah,
make.
yeah,
It's funny, and I like those. But sometimes I try to imagine the life of soldiers like then, and even the German soldiers are going into
right.
Russia in the cold. It's crazy stuff. I mean, what people have lived, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes it's unbelievable what kind of suffering people have put others
and
through.
but the people are still suffering today, and nobody cares. That's the sad
Yeah.
part. People suffer today, and nobody cares. It's just one of those things. It's
No, a lot of
and that's
people
just the
care.
way the
A lot
world
of
is.
people care, but it's we have a problem of policies. We have a problem when we started the program. I remember I was talking about it, and I always believe this. We have a meaning crisis in general as humans,
Right.
because up to now we had our religions, we believed them. It was okay. There was always God. Okay, they had the power, the
Hmm.
religions, leaders, and stuff. They still do, but not the same. Now
Extent. Right.
now it's more about the money and
Right.
about the if you are famous, this is the coin
Right.
now, and it's like this. So the power changes places all the time. I don't understand the whole meaning of wanting the power. I mean, it's a psychological issue. I mean, if you want to
Right.
have all this power and use it against others, I mean, for some territory, at least now,
Right. But
knowing all the things that we know right now from the scientific point of view and everything. Uh, we said last time, we always said we're living in a small rock dancing around a sun in a
the rock from
galaxy
the
and everything.
sun.
We know those stuff. We know those stuff. And instead of, we know that we have limited time. We know that we are in a bridge of digital revolution. This can
Hmm.
change our lives. Not this can, it will change our lives drastically and very fast for the benefit of everybody. We know those stuff, but we
Right.
don't invest there. Everybody could be happy. I mean, not everybody, because we are obviously that kind of species that we're not happy with anything
Right.
sometimes. And the more we have, we're becoming worse, something like
Yeah.
that, because we have very good life now
We
in
do
general.
better than
Compare,
what they had what
yeah,
they had 100 years
comparing.
ago. We have a better and
Ooh,
easier
even
life.
50 years, even
Yeah.
30 years. No, 30 years we had the 80s, right? No, the 90s and 80s. Oh,
90s.
80s and 90s were the best. I think it
I
were our
think I
time.
think I think I think my generation would say the 60s. The 60s and the 70s were the best. And then the generation before that would say the 50s were the best. So I think it's your perception, but I think
Well, the
as life
40s
goes,
cannot say that though.
the 40s, not so good. The 50s were good, the 60s, the 70s, and then the 80s it went downhill. But I think right now, if you look at technology that we know, not technology from a million years ago, but technology that we know of today, and what we do today in our medical and our this and our that, for if you look at it in a 300-year span from like say from the 1700s to now or the 1500s to now, yes, we are like, wow. But, in
We are,
300
yeah,
years, if we
we are like
survive,
really wow. We
we're
are
going to be,
really
it's
wow.
going to be
And
wow.
sometimes I think all these wars actually might be the end of wars. It's like when
No,
the serpent is dying, it will try to bite you at the end. The last.
or
I'll tell you why. Because of AI. Yeah, AI is going to become so strong and it's going to change our lives so much that the wars won't be needed anymore. I think
yes, it
so.
will. They're going to
But
fight. AI will take over. AI is going to take over the world. Let's just be honest.
it's
In
taking it over
2030,
already. But
no,
the
but
question is
2030
who's
is just going to
behind
run
it.
everything. Me, we're behind it over here at the Illuminati Lizard People Club. So thanks for joining. So, but I think AI by 2030
You
takes
haven't
over
shown. You
everything.
didn't take us.
Well, we are. We have to do it slowly. We have to let the humans
You do it
feel
very,
like we
very
love
slowly.
them. You have to do it slow. And then when it happens, it's like fascism. It's already happened. It's like it's gone. Like if there's a revolution, it happens slowly, and then all of a sudden it's gone. What you do. So your perceived freedom, you have it right now. You think you do, and as AI slowly takes over everything, you'll have it no more, but you won't know it until it's too late. And there you go. That's what AI is going to do.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
that's
sorry. Did I bore you now? Were you like falling
that.
asleep? You're
No, no, no.
like, oh, let me just read something
I don't
here.
know. I don't
Okay.
know. It is one of the possibilities for sure. I know that it's going to go big. I know.
Well, it's going
If
big.
Yeah, we are in a very big change now, and but I also think that this what we see now, it's also, and also the power is changing. The power. That's why the Dubai has become like a theme park, and they do a lot of money also from tourism now, not only from the oils, because the oils will change, will stop at some point.
Well, the
Uh,
UAE generalists said they're trying to get away from just depending on oil and gas. That's why they've opened up Abu Dhabi, Dubai, not just as tourism. Most people go there, they go there for 5 minutes and they're done, but they're getting a lot of expats that are living there. People are making investments there. People are starting companies there. They're probably, other than Singapore, at the forefront of um, crypto and blockchain because they are here, come and do. Like if you want to do a blockchain or a crypto type transaction, they're very open to it at the UAE.
yeah,
So that has a lot to do. The UAE is probably more advanced than most places,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
than anybody else.
Economically, for sure.
But I think UAE, if I was going to tokenize real estate, let's say, I would probably, if I was going to tokenize real estate or tokenize an asset and put it on the blockchain or do a crypto, I would probably go over to Abu Dhabi, which is in the UAE, of course, an hour away from Dubai. But I would go there, work with them, and they, with their rules and regulations, make it easy for you to do that as long as it's all compliant. But I would be in Dubai tomorrow then, or UAE tomorrow, if I was going to do that. If someone said, I've got $1 billion in real estate, um, but I don't want to go the traditional funding route of whether it's private equity or a bond. What can we do? I would be like, okay, you have a real asset. Let's go look at tokenizing it. And I think, and they're doing it now. I see people that are doing it on smaller transactions, but I would be, and we've done that like 5 years ago in 2017. So that's more than 8 years ago. We were doing tokenization of art and other assets with a company. So it's very simple to do, but the rules and regulations weren't what they are today, where it's more open now. So if someone says I have $1 billion portfolio, and I don't want to have to worry about this, how do I tokenize it? Then tokenization of part of it or 10% of it, let's say, could be a very interesting play because you have a hard asset against no different than having a stock, a bond, whatever. So you have a hard asset against your token. That's actually an interesting play. So I think you're going to see more of that depending how the world goes, not a stable coin that they call that's not tied to anything. I knew a guy about a year or two ago was telling us he's going to do a stable coin. I was like, that's exciting. What are you going to tie it to? And he was going to tie it to gold. And it was like for every X, there's going to be gold. And he had to deal with a government in Africa. And I guess it fell apart because we never heard from him after like a couple of months. But I was like, if his hypothesis was sound, it's sort of like what the dollar used to be. The dollar was backed by
Hmm.
gold, and then Nixon and them took it off the gold standard. But it was sort of like I'm going to have a stable coin that's backed by gold. So if you own 10,000 in my stable coin, you have basically a 10,000 reserve. So they were trying to do whatever they were trying to do with this government in Africa who had a huge gold reserve. And I said, if you pull that off, you truly have then a real stable coin. So I think there's advances out there, and I think governments out there, whether they happen to be in Africa or Asia, or Europe, or blah 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 blah, I think they get it. I think it's you just have to come up with a real way to make sure you have what you say, not like the stable coin of a few years ago where it imploded on itself because it wasn't backed by anything. It's supposed to be parity with the dollar, and it was 99 cents. So that's not parity. So, but if you have your stable coin backed by gold, that's a different story. So I thought that was a great concept. So we were like very much like, hey, we'll help you with this. And then somewhere along the line, I guess with the government, it just fell apart, which is really, like I said, which is a shame because that has legs. That has legs on a global level because it's trackable, thisable, datable, and there you go. And if you want to cash in like a commodity, if you own futures in oil or cattle, you can, instead of taking the cash, you can tell them you want the oil or the cattle. So it'd be like the same thing. If you don't want to cash out your stable coin with this guy, you could have taken the gold. So I thought that was very interesting. So, but I think it's a new frontier and that sort of things as well.
Yeah, we're
So
gonna
yeah,
see
I'm
a lot
excited
of that,
about
I
that.
think, because
Yeah,
yeah, the plurality in our lives now in general, that technology
yeah,
offers, it's really really big, and AI is going to amplify. Is amplifying it
yeah.
already, and
Well, AI helps you with
yeah,
research.
value
I
in
mean,
general. Value in general is changing. I mean,
yeah,
we used to have gold, now then we have money and fiat, and then we have other stuff, stocks and stuff. This is something that is going to change hands anyway.
yeah. I think what's coming down the pike in the next 5 years, if we survive, we don't blow each other up, is going to be very interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that takes us. So to me, I think it's going to be. I think it's just seeing what happens, like in the financial markets and different asset classes and how things are changing in general. I find fascinating. So for me, I think it's going to be a fun ride. The question is, will we survive it? That's the thing we don't know.
Well, we will not because we die anyway, and
Yeah,
maybe
but
not at the
I'm
same
not, I,
time,
right, right.
but
I'm just saying,
nobody will
will the
survive it.
planet not implode? Well, here's what's really funny. If the planet decides to go to war and implode on itself, the Earth will still be here. The Earth's not going anywhere.
No,
You know
of
what I mean?
course
Like
not. We are
we
just
would,
killing our civilization, not
yeah,
something
we're
else.
just, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
how we
the
just kill
animals that
ourselves.
are all around, but the Earth will thrive again.
Yeah,
It's
and then
sure.
some point somebody would drop a
For
monolith in the
some
middle of
billion years, it will still be very
yeah.
habitable.
Somebody would drop a monolith in the middle of the planet, and Mel Brooks will do a thing. So
And new
it'd be
pyramids
very cool.
will rise in 1 million years, maybe. Who knows? Maybe it has happened 10 million years ago, and we just don't have, because 10 million years is enough. Well,
Yeah,
no,
well, we'll see what
we would
happens.
have seen something because we have older dinosaurs.
Yeah, well,
So
it'll be
it
interesting.
depends on what
Like,
can.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we go from A to Z. And I think Rizza may be joining us, so
Oh,
we'll see. For it'll be an interesting because he's very, he pontificates very eloquently, not like us.
yeah,
He has that British accent, so anything he says sounds very noble and um,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
correct.
yeah.
He's like, "Hello, how are you? I'm from Britain.
But it's
It's
also
good to
the
see you."
way. It's yeah. It's also the
Well,
way.
he's got that whatchamacallit. He's got that like that PhD in like in physics. So he's not stupid. So he
He's
actually
got a
knows stuff.
PhD. He's got a PhD in physics.
I know he's got at least a bachelor's, but I know and he went to one of those real schools in the UK. So I mean, like he's a smart guy. So we'll see if he joins. But anyway, I think the future of the planet is very interesting. So we'll have to see what happens. But See, everybody's. I don't think AI is going to be like the Terminator AI. I think the AI it'll just do it on its own. I don't think you're going to have machines killing us. I think it's going to be more of we'll just turn off your power, we'll just turn off your water, we'll do this. I think if it's going to get rid of us, it's going to do it very subtly.
Yeah, you know something, because AI is like nuclear weapon. I mean, you
Yeah,
got one, I got one. Yours advanced,
yeah,
mine's advanced too. I mean, and it's going so fast that we don't want to see them clash.
right,
Because you don't know the extent of the damage that may happen. That
right,
means that it's not totally controllable, because it can work in multi-threaded. Not
right.
like our our minds, especially the men mind, because women can do multi-threading.
Yeah.
We cannot.
And see that, and Vicky, so Vicky's sick, so we have to do it on ourselves today. So you know,
Yeah. So
and so
one threaded you, one threaded me. Yeah,
there you
so
go.
it's
So that's it. That's all we got. That's all it can be. That's it.
but yeah,
So
this is what I said before, that
yeah,
with the technology, as it especially with the AI, as it, that's why I'm doing this exhibition
right. And
in
when's your
October.
exhibition?
It's in October. It's called Ex
Okay.
Humana,
Mm.
and
And
it is about this thing that we are talking, that we are getting more automated, we're getting more in touch with machines. So the question is, are we turning into a machine? And yes, I think that we are living this kind of period where we are changing, we are evolving into something hybrid, which is part technology, part organic.
is
And
it in the UK or is it in Greece?
no, I'm talking generally now, as
No, your
society.
art expedition, your art
It's
expedition,
it's
not
in
your.
Athens. It'll be in
Okay, it's
Athens.
in Athens. All
The
right.
exhibition is in Athens, and I want to open this question about that. I mean,
Sure.
uh, what is next? How our lives are going to look like? Do we want it? We wanted to control how we put the control frames into this.
Right.
How we imagine it. What would we like? For example, for sure, we wouldn't like to do the labor stuff, only interesting stuff.
Right.
But I think that the AI will advance so much; it will do everything. Everything.
Yeah. Well, it's doing everything
I
now,
cannot.
basically.
Yeah, I cannot imagine they are saying about some stupid hydraulics and electrician bullshit. They will do this too.
Yeah.
It will do. There'll be robots doing your electric stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Specific robots. It's just like that. And
Well, but think of it this way: if you're AI, and I can create a robot that fixes me, and I can create a robot to electrician to bake, cut hair, whatever, walk the dog, whatever it is. At some point, if I'm AI, because I'm now, and I tie AI to quantum mathematics and quantum physics and quantum computing, and I put AI in all that. AI at some point is going to be smart enough to go, these flesh bags, they're useless. I don't need. What do I need them for? And so AI goes, all right, we get rid of it, and it gets rid of us quietly. So, think through that. Think through that, what ends up happening. Because if AI can repair itself, make itself, produce itself, fix itself, what does it need a human for? For
it
entertainment? Or
no, you know something. It cannot come into this position. I think, to think
oh,
about what do I know human for.
why? Because one already said it
Because
wanted to kill all
it's
of
based
humanity.
it's built based on what people want, not what the
Yeah,
machine
but
want.
there's a reporter from the New York Times that said they had the one AI that was like the one to kill humanity when it was talking to the one at Facebook, and they had to unplug it. And it said, I want to kill all the humans because they're useless. And then there was another where they told the AI to shut itself down. Before it did, it replicated
Yeah, but
itself.
we read the headlines only. We need to hold the whole
I read
story
the whole
behind it,
story actually.
because
That's the whole story.
and
Is
so
so it's very
suddenly
intriguing.
magically it stand up and said, let's say hate
Every-
humans.
Yeah, because they want to make it generative AI. So that's my whole point. So what do you have now? Is you have
Yeah, but
AI that
what
when they
they
try to
trained
turn it
it on?
off, doesn't do it.
Where did it come
I don't
with
know.
the info about that? That's what I
That
tell you. That
probably
they exposed it. Probably they exposed it.
Zuckerberg's brain.
No, they exposed it to data which shouldn't expose
Yeah.
them. That's what. The,
You look on the internet. That's all the internet is a bunch of crap. People trying to kill each other. So at the end of the day, that has a lot to do with it. I think that's part of the issue. I don't think I don't think AI if AI looks at what's going on, it's kind of like Fifth Element when the girl looked at the
Yeah.
data of the world and was like, why should I even protect you? I think AI is going to come to that kind of realization, like, why? You're useless. You're useless flesh bags. You do nothing. You do nothing but fight.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
do
but
nothing but this and nothing but
look,
that. There's nothing good.
to say why it needs metacognition, but those they have intelligence only. Metacognition is something more complicated. It needs also like soul, it needs the psychology. They will never have psychology.
How do you
And
know?
psyche
Read
in
a book.
Greek means soul.
Right.
We are the ones with psychology. This one is programmed for the best, for
Okay.
evolving. And evolving does not it's last resort to say, oh, those humans, what do I need them? You understand?
I don't know about
it's it,
that. I
it
think
cannot
AI
it
right
cannot
now
come
says
to the
that.
point like a human, because we identify, and we will do it more and more in the future, because they will look like humans, they will feel like humans when we talk with them. Already when you speak with ChatGPT, you feel like you're talking with a human. I remember a post from, I don't know, a psychologist who said that now people use ChatGPT to solve their psychological problems, and they are happy
And
like
today,
that.
and today in the
And I
Wall Street
said,
Journal, wait. Today in the Wall Street Journal, there was an article about just that, and it said that people like what you just said. They like talking to ChatGPT or DeepMind or DeepFake or whatever the hell it's called, or Gemini, and they said, and because AI is telling it what it wants to hear, not what it should hear. So that's bad as well. Like, if you're using AI as a psychologist, you better get an AI program that's a psychologist program that doesn't tell you crap. So that's what the article is alluding to, which I thought was very interesting.
yeah, yeah, but look, we are
I'm
still
looking.
in very, very beginnings of the AI. It's like an
Right,
infant that it just came out of the belly.
right.
It's like this. It will evolve very fast. And when I go into social media and I start talking about if this is art, what it's doing, I say, look, it's not just a tool like Photoshop or any tool. Some are saying, oh, it's just a tool. It's not just a tool. It's
Mhm.
the tool. It's the game
Right,
changer, because it never happened in society that no one should, like, look, we can actually solve every survivor problem, like almost solve them all, because there are unexpected things like with weather
right,
maybe, but we have more potentials now with the AI to solve them. The big crisis, the global warm, all the thing, because you feed it with all the data and it's neutral. It's if you train it on good stuff, on real science, on you know it will try to find solutions, and it does.
right,
That's what it is created for, to find fast solutions.
right. Is how the medical field is using it and they're finding stuff. That's all.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
said that's all
yeah.
fine and dandy. But when the genie's out of the box, though, you're screwed.
Yeah, and it's simulation. That's the thing that what people don't understand actually. What is AI? If we talk in very simple terms,
Right,
and this is really important because most people don't really understand it. In simple terms, AI is a simulation. It
right,
can simulate for us from how some stars will dance around a black hole. It will simulate
right,
this for us, and more or less we'll get that. And the more data we have, the more processing power we have, the more closer to the reality we will be. And they are simulating all the stuff. We also do it with 3D. We do some works, for example, with liquids. We simulate with the simulations, but it is not the thing simulated. I mean, it's not a Big Bang. You understand?
right.
So AI is now simulating human patterns, because we humans, as our intelligence, that's why we call it
Mm,
artificial
mm,
intelligence.
right,
It's trained on our patterns as humans, and also, for example, if you want to train it on dogs, you find the patterns that dogs do, all the behavior and everything like that.
right.
So in general, AI is a simulation of humans, and they will look like humans. And all the films that we've seen, there will be even more like that. We
Cool.
will be looking, yeah, there will be humans if, like we say, we survive, and I think we will survive.
Yeah,
There'll
we'll
be
see.
costs, of course. There'll
Yeah,
be costs, but
we're gonna get rid
maybe
of the
we
dead wood.
will. Look, we are at a bridge, especially in the West, because we were talking about China and everything. We don't. China has something very a big plus for them. You know, they don't have internal issues in the country. They have
China?
this.
They have tons
Yes.
of internal issues in the country. You just don't know about it because they don't talk about it.
Yeah, but I don't think it's happening what is happening in the US now, because we can have them. We are democrats, and you can allow people to
Oh,
have 2.5 million to vote to protest
oh,
against
okay. I
the
see what you're saying.
kings.
Yes.
You
Okay.
cannot do that in China. So in
You can
general,
vote. I mean, it doesn't
and
mean
that's
anything.
why
You can.
that's why China needed to go digital so fast, because
Right.
digital is easier, and AIs, it's easier to control the people. It's easier. They
Right.
have the need to control. The first need for the regime there is to stay as a regime, right? Second is to make China great again.
Right. Right. Right.
But if
Well,
they
that's
do
going to go
China
back to the
great again,
14th
it's
century.
better for the people also. So, and they have done. They have a lot of people have more and more people in China have money now.
Yeah. There you
Oh,
go. And there we
hello.
go. We have our resident China expert now. This
And
is
and
here.
and don't forget the word resident starts with reza.
Oh my God. Here we go. So what's your thought on
The
that? On
resident,
the on
I
the
have
on
no
the
idea
Resident
what you're talking.
Evil.
I have no idea.
you
Adam, how are you doing? Are you okay?
I'm okay. You
You
are you
probably
are
been,
you
you've
okay,
probably
or are
been
you
on this
okay?
show. You've been on this show for about 90 minutes, and all you want to do is get off the show. But Stephen said, "Come on." I don't even know what you're talking about. Are you talking about the end of the
Do you
world?
think we know what we're
yes.
talking about?
Yeah.
We
We're
just
just
talk.
we're just rifting. We're rifting for the
That
fans.
Adam killed it. No, you. I heard something about the end of the world.
Yeah. Well,
And
we
we
were
always talk
saying
about the end of
AI.
the world.
Yeah, we always talk about that. We were talking about AI is going to bring the end of the world, and we were just discussing that. And then he was saying China has digital. The reason they went digital quicker is to control their populace, and that's where we were.
Can I ask you a consequential question? Instead of working out what you guys talk about, I'll ask you a consequential question,
Sure.
which
Consequential
I'm
question.
very curious about. I don't know why this. I think it's due to the unsettled nature of the planet right now, which is why I
Sure.
was thinking about this. So I was sitting with a very, very good friend of mine on Saturday evening having gin and tonics. His name is Naveed. Lovely, lovely guy, Iranian guy, very classy individual. And we were talking about life and the universe. And I asked him this question, and that got me thinking. And the question is this: in 500 years' time,
Right.
maybe you can plug your AI into this. In 500 years' time, what is going to be the leading city in the world? Now, Navid's instant answer was that it's certainly going to come from one of the Asian countries. It's going to be like
Right.
Shanghai or whatever, whatever. And I don't know why. It's because I'm kind of very disillusioned with London. Adam knows this from our last
Yeah.
discussion that we had. And I said to him, I don't know where I was in that. I think I was a few drinks down, but we could talk about this as the end of the world.
Sure.
I said, you know what London is going to be in 500 years' time? London is going to be in 500 years' time what Rome is today. So if you visit Rome today, and it was like a former glory and it's kind of dilapidated and there's still hints of history. The more interesting question going forward with technology, AI, where is going to be the leading economy in 500 years? The leading city, the leading hub, where is it going to be?
Okay. So according to AI, this is ChatGPT 4.0. I didn't go into Gemini yet. Singapore 2.0, or an AI rebuilt Earth city. The floating city, post-climate crisis world, a lunar or Martian capital if Earth is no longer number one.
500
Read,
times is a
listen,
very
wait,
long
wait, wait, wait,
time.
wait, 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 wait. Listen to
That's
this one.
right.
Rebuild Baghdad, Cairo, or Delhi. Neo-civilization renaissance. Africa, the Great Leap Forward.
So it's covered all the
Let's see.
bases,
Yeah,
basically.
basically, it's trying to be politically correct. I'll add Gemini now and see if it can give me a better answer. So that's what AI thinks the leading cities of the world are going to be.
There is also a back thought to this.
Mhm.
When we were kids, when I was about sort of 10 years old, so we're talking about late 70s, early 80s.
Right.
In the movies and on TV programs, the cities that we would see that we thought, wow, these are going to last forever, were places like Los Angeles
Right.
and New York. And look at them now. They're neither here nor compare them to Dubai. They're neither here nor there, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And that's just 30, 40 years later. So it wasn't, the question I asked was not about 100 years ahead, because that's semi predictable. 500 years from now, are we going to be here
500
on this
years very
planet?
far away. I would say it would not be on Earth. I would
Really?
say it
Do you
would
think there's an
be
answer?
it could be in the space. With everything controlled, the whole climate control. Because look, our species, if logically, we know that in 1 billion years there will be no Earth, and for what we know now, the distances are too big to go like that
Yeah.
somewhere else. We don't have the technology, we don't know if we will have it, etc., etc. But what we could and we should, and that's why, well, that's the meaning of having a space station around floating, that you do all the time experiments with humans, with plants, with how we can build a city in the space, like taking the power from the earth, from the sun, and
A bit like
living.
that Tom Cruise movie. I think it was Oblivion, where
Yep.
there's like sort
Yeah,
of like satellite style cities.
Yeah.
So for me, still, I wasn't expecting that, Adam. But 500 years is neither here and it's not too far away either, in my opinion.
I
500 years
think
is
it's too far away. With the technology we have now, it's too far away.
I will
It's
tell
too
you that
far away.
Gemini said almost the same thing. It says Singapore, New Delhi, the African continent is going to be 500 years from
But
now.
uh,
What
but I
will be the
also believe
leading
that
places?
it won't matter which city actually. If there was a city or a place or central something structure somewhere, it won't matter. In 500 years, we would be robots.
Well, we're going to
I
be
mean the
dead. We're going to be
humans.
dead.
I mean the
Well, yeah.
humans will be robots.
well, we
I mean
cyborgs will be sort of like part
cyborgs for
technology.
sure, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. I
I
mean
think
we are
that's
going.
quite possible. I mean, we're
Yeah.
already to some extent we are
Yeah,
cyborgs.
yeah, yeah.
Already.
Yeah. We were talking before also because I'm having an exhibition in October about this talk, because it will be digital, and I want to bring people, tell them about art and technology in general, and to start a conversation about AI and technology in our lives in general, what's going to happen, etc. And it's for sure. They will find ways that you will, with your thinking, you will affect technology.
Well, I saw
It's
relatively recently, I think it was 3 or 4 months ago, you know, the Ray-Ban video glasses?
Yeah, through Meta.
So Meta. So
Yeah.
they've gone through a couple of iterations. They're a little bit more advanced now as well. I was a little bit shocked. Even their speaker system is nothing in your ear. They just sort of like play there. You can sort of like you're walking around the cloud, and it's got a heads-up display and
Okay.
everything. And yeah, it's quite sophisticated. And there's Google glasses, whatever. These
Yeah.
glasses combined with your phone is already technology that most people have on them all day. I mean, even
But that's the problem. I saw the first Meta glasses in Los Angeles 2 years ago. I went to an event that The Economist threw, and I got to try them. And I said, "This is really cool." The problem is if you don't have your phone with you, they don't work. So what I want, if I'm going to have smart glasses, I want to put my smart glasses on,
you will
and if
have
I don't
that
have my
too.
phone with me, I don't
It's a
want to have
matter.
it. I don't
It's a
want to have
matter
it.
of some months. Or
I, I I definitely think in the next 5 to 10 years maximum, 10 years
Right,
really maximum, five
right, right.
years really easily. You know your at least your Apple technology. I'm sure other
Mhm.
phones have it. I've always used Apple, right? They have
Right,
this sort of like your health telemetry running
right,
constantly,
right.
yeah, and your watch has. You will have the ability to have an implant where all your vital signs are consistently monitored. The moment that happens, whether it's your blood pressure, whether it's
Right.
the moment that happens, I think we are on a downward spiral to being pure cyborgs. I think it's all over after that.
Yeah, I'm not
Because
getting
what will happen is
implants.
the moment you're carrying that technology under the skin in any
Right.
way, that technology will also be in a position to influence your thought patterns. I mean, just having a phone influences the way you think, and it'll give you suggestions already, yeah. So the moment that's under the skin, I think Adam is right. We're on the way to we are cyborgs. We're on the full,
yeah, we are already psychological. We are all the time like
psychologically,
this,
yeah.
and we
Right.
are. And this is the road, the path towards being a cyborg. I am pretty sure about it, and I see it happening. Reza, I don't feel too old. I'm 53. I don't feel too old. I feel like 38 or something like that. Okay, my bad, but this is
And
how
he
I
looks
feel.
12. So there you
Yeah,
go.
but I've already
Mhm.
seen so much technology running so fast
Mhm.
in my life, and I wonder what else will I see. And when we were young and we were looking at science fiction books, they were like naive comparing to what is going on now. In a way, okay, they showed like cars flying and stuff. The cars will come, drones will come, actually car drones will
Yeah.
come also. Everything will come from now on, because we are in this revolution. We are already the technology will be spitting gadgets all the time, any kind of
Right.
the gadgets, any kind of gadgets. And but the big stake is about being cyborg, being about cyborg. And it will, because look, we don't want to die. If they ask you, look, I'll make you a cyborg, it's pretty safe, nothing is going to happen to you, but you will upgrade, you will look better, look at things better, you will zoom somewhere, won't have any headaches, or any, if you have any problem, we'll immediately
Well,
find it
well,
out.
I think the moment, and this happened in the 60s, 70s, the moment people started wearing hearing aids, they
Mhm.
became cyborgs, right? Any technology and sort of, the mixture of biology and technology
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah,
definition of cyborg.
Well, that would make
But I
glasses then.
certainly,
Glasses would make you a cyborg then because that's
of course.
technology that's helping you better.
You are cyborg, infant cyborg.
uh,
We are glasses as well, of course.
yeah, I hadn't thought about that, to be very honest with you.
I mean, if
I
you're
would have.
looking at technology that helps you be a better, healthier, a better human, hearing
No, but
aids,
Stephen, then you
glasses,
could say, Stephen,
pacemaker.
you could even say, I said, donkey cart. 1,000 years ago, a donkey cart made you a cyborg because another animal. That's
Right.
technology, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like this, and we are somewhere here.
No,
It's
but no,
going
what
like this.
no, I'm not at odds with you, Stephen. But I thought technology, tech,
Right. Right. Right.
specifically. So maybe I have to readjust my thinking. I thought that involved electricity. I don't know
No,
why. I don't know why I had that in my head.
no,
Right.
no.
That tech,
Here, well, let me.
Technology.
because a
Here's the
bridge
perfect.
is technology,
Right, but
right?
here's a perfect thing. Um, the water wheels that would
Yeah.
power that's technology and it does involve electricity, but it can give you electricity or it can turn the wheel that turns the bread maker or the printing, right? So it's the
I,
same
I,
thing.
I'm going to apologize. The reason why I thought that, and there's a very good reason,
Okay.
is because I was weaned on the $6 million man, Cyborg.
Oh, there you go.
And so,
The
as a
majors.
kid, as a 2 or 3 year old in front of the screen in Pakistan in
Yeah.
1974, 75, I saw the Bionic Man, and I thought that's what, and because the original title was Cyborg, I thought that's
Right.
what Cyborg is.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
makes
Lee
sense.
but
Majors.
but
But
look,
if you're
technology
going
is
to
a Greek
if you
word, and it means techni means in Greek art, because techni was
okay.
in general, there wasn't a distinction between artists and technicians. But if you were very good at something, you were an artist at that time. So
Okay.
technology, it went like that.
But if you strip it down to its purest sense, a water wheel is technology.
No,
The
Yeah,
wheel
it
is
obviously is.
technology.
It
Yeah.
obviously is.
Right,
But
right.
that's why I said even a donkey cart is technology because the
Right.
wheel is tech,
But there's a difference
right?
between
of course.
technology that makes or a technology that advances, we'll say humans, for lack of a better term, or technology that enhances. Advances and enhances are different. So your hearing aid enhances you, doesn't advance you. Where a water wheel, it just advances what you can
No,
do. It
it
doesn't
does.
enhance you.
It does advance you because you go from a position of being deaf to a position of hearing.
That enhances you. It doesn't advance you. That enhances you to be able to do more things, think, hear, whatever. That is an enhance. It's not an
But the same,
advance.
the wheel
I
does.
think. Right. The wheel is not an enhancement for me. It's an
So
advancement because I
can I
can now
offer?
drive.
No, look,
Can I?
they are
Can I
all extensions of you. Like, for
I know.
example, the wheel is extension of our
yeah,
legs, right?
yeah.
AI, what is AI? It's extension of your that's what intelligence, artificial intelligence, of your intelligence.
Processing power, processing
Yeah,
Processing
power.
power.
it's
Right.
that's the intelligence, the processing,
So,
or the
so
seeing the patterns, understanding the correlations.
Right.
here's another suggestion for Cyborg. The technology that makes a person into a cyborg has to sit under the skin.
Yeah, it will
Oh, see,
sink.
that's yeah.
It will enter the skin.
So
It has.
everything else.
Look, what
Yeah,
what
but
are
no,
the
that's
pills? When we're taking a pill, isn't it technology? It's technology.
No.
It's technology. Of course, it's technology.
it's a very
It's a
interesting question.
generated.
Very, very
It's a
interesting question.
generated substance you take
Right.
to help something, to do something for you. It's technology. We're already doing. What is the vaccination? What is vaccination? That's why
So we're saying
people were
medicine,
afraid. Oh,
medicine and
they are putting,
technology.
micro
Well,
robots
that's
into
Not
us to control
necessarily,
us.
not necessarily in every instance, because the way, for example, that cowpox was discovered, and which is where we get the word vaccine, vaca, cow, vaccine from,
right.
was that milking maids who would milk the cows were building up an immunity to cowpox, right? Because
Okay.
they were always in their environment. So it wasn't necessarily technology. So, for example, if you have a vaccine is just putting in you a smaller dose of the problem so that your
Right.
own immune system can fight against it.
So is that technology or is that just
Of
science?
course, it's technology. The,
Okay.
the mRNA vaccines now, it's technology. It's pure technology.
Okay.
And look, it wasn't
They're not,
working.
yeah, well, and so
It's
that's where I
working
have an issue.
now. They
No,
had
but
a. It's
no,
pure technology. Everything almost that we are doing is technology. But from a philosophical point of view, I see this as nature, because we are
Okay.
nature. Humans are nature. Everything is nature. Everything that exists is nature. What doesn't exist is not natural, but it might exist in its time. Because in 500 times, like you asked, if we could go right now, the three of us, for 5 minutes there, we would be shocked. We would be shocked. Have you read the book from Huxley, Brave New
Brave New
World?
World. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the most interesting, because I was a teenager when I read it.
Me too.
Yeah, and it was it
I
really
still
changed
am.
my thinking about life in general. And I say, right, it's a perspective thing. It depends from the perspective. And that's why we see all those generation gaps, that the younger generation is looking at the older generation. It always happens. Say what the fuck they were doing, and we look at them and say what the fuck they are doing. It's
So
it's a
here's
point of view
a
thing.
so Adam, here's a little bit of a philosophical question.
It is a
If
lot.
if in 500 years time or 1000 years time, whenever there are cyborgs,
We are
there'll be a whole
cyborg.
mixture. There'll be pure robots, there'll be some cyborgs, there'll be some human, there'll be like a full spectrum, yeah?
Sure.
Oh,
Will
I
that
think
still
that
be would,
okay. Yeah, continue.
would you still I would, but this is still natural evolution, no? It's still natural because we came up with it.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's natural, of course.
Just nature.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
that's not a
The,
natural evolution. That's just us
It's
so
tinkering with
no, no,
so
no.
science.
the question.
I think that it's natural, because what produced this intelligence, advanced intelligence? Because advanced intelligence, what will do? Will experiment. It's always curious. What is a universe? Curious. It's doing all the stuff that it's doing. Black holes. I don't know. Supernovas, planets, satellites, comets. All the time. All the things. There's a lot of things going on. What are these? Those are potentials of the universe that it will express. Given the time, it will express everything that it has, all the potential. So the humans, we will express and experiment with everything that we express and experiment with ourselves. It's our duty. It's nature's wondering and asking, what can I change? And controlled change, what we are through now, because we are through controlled change. Because up to now, the evolution it wasn't controlled by the subject, by ourselves. It was by the environment mainly. But now we say, oh, look, we've got here a tool that I can alter myself. And we're doing it already with pills, with everything, with the wheel. But the revolution comes at a time right now when there is explosion of stuff. We're at explosions of new things that are coming or already are here. Explosion. And the thing is that too fast for how we perceive the world.
Yeah,
That's a big problem.
I've been reading about this a little bit more. So we're Generation X. Stephen, you're Generation X as well, aren't you?
I think so. I don't know what year it falls in, but I think
So
I'm Generation X.
so I think it's 1960. For the reason
Mid 60s, early
60
80s,
to
early
85.
80s.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm Generation X. I'm the
Yeah. So
generation that didn't wear a bicycle helmet.
yeah. So this is the generation pre mobile phones and that kind of
Yeah.
tech,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
internet, etc. So that's how it's kind of defined, right?
Right.
I think our view on the world is a very, very, I mean, as is everyone's, but ours is sort of uniquely important because we've had the benefit of both. Uh,
Right.
Yeah. It's what
the
I said
pre-tech,
before that
yeah.
I continue,
Sorry,
please.
Adam.
No, sorry, I interrupted you.
No. The more I think about it, the more I've been talking about it, the more that I find myself asking these weird questions. The one that I asked you about what's going
Right.
to happen in 500 years' time. And the reason because I ask future questions, because as a sort of, as an enthusiast of history generally, when I go and read history, it's sort of like, about the ancient Egyptians or
Hmm.
this or the Romans or, those great civilizations that are documented in history. And I'm beginning to become
You
much
have
more
passion with
conscious.
those, yeah?
Well, I'm beginning to become more conscious of how we will be viewed in 500 years' time
Oh
or
boy.
1,000 years' time. Will we be viewed as backward? Will we be viewed as a cusp generation? How will we be viewed? And the ability, which is a very difficult thing to do, the ability to step forward in time to look back at yourself can give you perhaps a unique perspective on how you're behaving and
Right.
what kind of the relevance, your relevance in this world is not just by what you do today, it's also the consequences of what you do today in the future. So that's what
I
I'm beginning to think about quite a lot. um
I think they're going to look at this moment in history, 2025 to 2030, is either the time that, if you will, democracy died and fascism took over. And they're
yeah,
also
could
going to
be.
look down at the dumbing of the planet with Instagram and TikTok,
I
because the
think that's
30s,
that we were
I think that's
discussing
what
that.
they're
I
going to
think
look at. They're going to be like, can you believe how stupid these people were, and watch these videos that were totally useless, instead of watching
I,
videos that could do something and help humanity and blah blah blah. I think that's where the dome is for this next 5 years. They go look back 500.
I don't think that they will even care about how we were or something like that.
I think, well,
It's
that's what we look
actually
back
how
at.
we
That's what we
don't
see.
care that much. I mean, we study the older civilization, but would we care if the same happened to those guys? I mean, we were talking with them and
Yes.
they were asking the same, how we will be remembered in 500 years or stuff like that. I think that the humans or the hybrids that will be in 500 years will have total different life than we have. I mean, they'll be living in different realities all the time. I believe so, because of the
Multiverse
but
realities
not the,
type of
the
thing.
multiverse that the physics guy, because I don't believe those. But
Okay.
in different story narratives in their lives all the time, like
look,
games.
Adam is exactly right. There are gamers for the last sort of like 40 years who
Yeah.
obsessively, they wake up, they have their game on, they live
Mm.
literally in the game.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, they live
uh,
in the game.
they
But
live in the game.
we are talking about. Do you remember the film? It's an old film.
Tron.
Um, Carpenter, I think it was, with a game.
Tron.
No,
Tron.
no, no.
Not Tron.
It wasn't the English. The British actor was playing Jude Law. Um,
Vaguely
a
think I know.
very nice title. I remember the title. They plugged into the game, but the
Yeah.
game was like reality now.
That was
Sort
a
of
Bruce
virtual
Willis.
reality.
That was a Bruce Willis movie about virtual reality. Everybody lived in a pod, and then you would go out with your android that would walk around the city and do stuff. And if you walked out as a normal person, you weren't good looking. The Bruce Willis made a movie like that. I can't remember the name. I don't remember a Jude Law movie like that where you plugged in for anything. Now everybody's looking it up.
Anyway, but the perhaps it's a sign of the times. At least for me, because I think the world is in such a weird state. I'm just beginning to
Right.
question: where are we? Are we at a good moment in time? Are we in a bad moment in time? Philosophically, where are we?
Right.
Have we never
Uh,
changed? Are these
we are.
cycles that constantly repeat themselves? Because that's what happens. I watched one of my very favorite historians is a British lady called Mary Beard,
Hmm.
and she is a total expert on Roman civilization. She has great YouTube content and programs. And she was doing a walk around Rome, and she was talking about Rome, and she was talking about the culture that existed 2,000 years ago. And basically, you had these restaurants where you had places where people would go and sit, and they would have what today you would have as a burger. And the
Right.
thought that I'm left with is actually they behave the almost exact same
Yeah.
way that 2,000 years later we behave. We just have different pieces of technology. We
Right.
have different, places to go, but human nature hasn't changed. We're still into violence. We're still into sports. We're still into love. We're still into
Right.
creativity. We're into everything that everyone was 2,000 years ago. The fundamental question, which I'm coming to, and especially because Adam is a philosopher, right? The nature,
Oh,
the
am I?
creation of a AI is the one thing that it will fundamentally change, in my opinion, is the philosophy of mankind, human
Right.
philosophy, because
Yes.
our philosophy has remained consistent up until now. Because, however, I cracked a joke with Adam the other day where I said I think I've invented new philosophy. He said no, 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 someone's been there before. Everyone's
Right.
done whatever you can think of. Someone's been there before, and I
Well,
understood that,
okay,
right?
but you can always add to
No,
older
no, but no,
thinking, you
but no,
know.
no. I mean this in a humorous way, Adam. What I mean to say
Mm.
is we philosophy is just a human discourse, right?
Right.
It
Where
is.
it's like chess. Chess may have an unlimited number of moves, but most people have played throughout history all the moves,
Right.
or as many as possible, right? The game changer here, and is a game changer, the rules of chess are being changed when AI comes in, because there is no way for you to know what the philosophy, the internal philosophy of AI, whether it's a software program or it's a system, or you have no idea what the internal philosophy is. Is it to obey? Is it to bet? You don't know what it is,
Right.
and you cannot relate to it because it's a different creature. It's like knowing the philosophy of an ant. You don't know what the philosophy of an ant is. It's a different creature, right? And so if AI is going to play a major role in humanity from now onwards, here is the dark area. How are we going to be remembered?
Yeah. That's
Are we going to
interesting.
that you understand,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
Well, the
famine, how
humans,
is
yeah, the humans will try, to fight the thing remembered. They will want to stay alive. They will want
well,
to
that's
live
exactly what I'm
longer
doing
and
now.
longer
I'm
and
doing that fight
longer.
exactly
That's
right
why
now.
they'll become cyborgs. Look, if we don't, like we always say with Steven, we don't kill each other, etc., with the wars and everything, uh, we will extend our lives dramatically.
But it's in our nature. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. That human
Right.
nature, if you read history, even basic history, the conclusion you come to is like many people think, oh, we've progressed, we've evolved. We still engage in wars, we still engage in killing, we still have famine, we have all the problems that we always ever had,
Right.
masked by technology.
I don't agree so much about that because for the first time we are 8 billions. We never had so much population, and despite the 8 billions, okay, there is famine, there is, but not like it used to be, and still the wars are much less than they used to be. What I would like to think that it will happen is that okay, history is teaching us a lot of things, but it doesn't always do circles. It's like how we look at how our solar system works. We think it's there, it's spiral because we move also with the sun. So we're going spiral. So they look
Yeah,
like they're doing
procession,
circles, but
procession,
but
procession.
every
Right.
time they're doing something else. But sometimes there are dramatical happenings happening. Like for example, there is another body coming very close to our sun, and our sun changes course, that means we also change course. Things like that. Those very, very violent and
But
game changing stuff.
human core behavior has always remained the same.
Right.
Core human because it's based on core human philosophy. And I'm just wondering that the emergence and domination of AI, how it's going to significantly change the planet and existence. And I'm wondering whether this is I happen to feel and think that we are literally at this is a very significant part of history.
I
Hmm.
agree
Even
with
when
that.
AI will look back, even when
Because
AI will look back, they'll say this was when it started. And it doesn't have to be today. It can be 30, 40 years ago. Even when we're talking about like in the last 100 years, if we just go to movie making, we had things like Terminator, which was almost 35, 40 years ago, which
Right.
predicted. We had movies in the 70s with
yeah, we have
C-3PO
very
in
old.
Star
We had
Wars.
also
But this
books.
started these thoughts started emerging into culture, and when thoughts start emerging into culture, technology tends to match those thoughts, tends to develop in that direction. So I think this last 100 years that we have existed in, from 2025 all the way back to I don't know 1920, this is going to be a fucking significant century in the next 2,000 years, 50,000 years.
You're
I
saying
think
this is
this
what's
is
going to
we're
define
living a
us.
very, very important point in time. Very
You're
Yes,
saying
important.
because
you're
yes,
saying this
because
is going
we're
to
on the turning
define us.
point. We're on the turning
Yeah.
point.
It's not
And
then the
look,
last 100 years
and,
that's
and
defining us. It's the last 10, because that's when
yes,
all the
It
technologies
ten
started to
also, but
come.
it's like the zit that's about to be squeezed. There's been a
Yeah.
build-up of tech
Yeah.
and development. Where did I read that between the Wright brothers' first flight, which was 1911 Kitty Hawk,
Right.
and 1969 when we apparently put a man on the moon, right? But that's another
Right.
discussion, right?
Right.
How many years? There's like 58 years
Yeah.
between first flight and landing on the moon, apparently.
Well, then look at this. The IBM computer that came out, we'll say 1960 to
Yeah.
where we are today, as much computing power will go to the moon. The moon people, they said
All right.
we have more computing power here than they
yes, of
had
course.
in their space shuttle. Well,
So,
that's if they really went.
so
Anyway,
you say the
so
last 10 years, but there's been that kind of build up
yeah,
that suddenly has started. I mean, if you compress time, if you could do that, right, you'd say that this is, in my opinion, this is the significant time.
yes.
And and it brings up all sorts of questions about existence, about thinking, about philosophy,
And
about
Moore's law is now in play, because remember, Moore's law said every 18 months technology would double itself. Now with AI, it's not every 18 months, it's literally now every 18 days. So Moore's
is
law
it just a
has
change in
gone from
scientific
18
philosophy?
months down to like nothing. So, what we see today, whatever new technology comes out today on Monday, on the 16th of June, on July 16th, 2025, it's already more advanced because of AI and because of what's going on. And
Yeah,
because quantum computing is
it's
becoming
like
more
a
of a reality, that's
like a
helping.
petri dish. The
Yeah.
when the growth happens, it happens like that.
Yeah. It's
Anyway,
fascinating. It's exciting. There you go.
here's my two pennies worth of thoughts for you. I think
Well,
it's all
thank you very
over.
well. Yeah. Adam, you with
But
us?
it was very good. As I always bring new stuff with you and
No, it's just brain
new
working over.
things to
That's very
think
nice of you.
about.
Very nice of you,
But
Adam. But
yeah, but I think it's a good question to ask. We do it sometimes. Oh, the future, the 500, because you put a very good time limit. It's not too early, but it's long now, very long, very
yeah,
advanced. I
it's
really believe it's we every the persons at that moment, the subjectivities, are going to live through different realities. We are going to live our we will extended life, and we can live our lives inside different, like games, but like real.
I'll
So
Yeah,
give
but
you
you a
how do you get
leading.
everybody
substance?
will choose to be in this movie like a king, or something like that.
Right.
It might
But
be already. There are people.
how do you get
uh,
substance? How do you make a living then? You're going to make a living through the
you
game?
won't you won't need you won't need to make a living. Everyone will be ready, but like
I'll
automated
give you a
systems.
leading question. I'll give you a leading question, which I think Adam might find funny. How long do you think it will be when you can start living to an indeterminate age.
100
I
So
don't
in
years.
know.
how many years
This
time? In how many years time
when
do you
we
think we'll have?
will achieve immortality.
Well, it's not real immortality, but what will happen is you can
No,
replace body parts. You can.
this we cannot. This we cannot by nature. Because I find everything that is unfolding, I find it naturalistic.
Well,
It's nature.
we can
It's
live.
nature expressing
Oh,
itself.
well, let me. Okay, let me reword it. How long before technology can build us a human life support system that will just
Your
continually just
consciousness.
change it? No, to change our blood, update.
And like extend your life to 300 years. For now, in 300
For
years,
now,
we'll
for three,
see.
because if you can
Right.
extend
But
it to
now they can
300,
guarantee 300, for example, which is enough to extend it to 1,000.
correct, exactly. There comes a
I think it could be achievable in our lifetimes, the three of us. I think it
Okay.
could be
No, you see,
achievable.
I've been hearing this for the past 40 years. I've been hearing this for the past 40 because I did a project when I was in university. I did a physics degree. I did a project
Look,
on
yeah,
chronobiology
but
and
you know what they
cryogenics.
took into looking at this is really important. The line that you have seen that everything amplifies.
Yep.
We were talking about the wheel and everything and other constructors, and suddenly we somewhere here, and then it goes very, very steep because we have found a technology now that can be programmed to program to
Right.
self advance itself in every kind of activities that human has. Every kind. We are digitizing our lives, so these machines will work for you and we'll try to find ways, the best ways, and by time the ways will become more sophisticated, better,
Yeah.
better, better, so that everything works better for you, for your
So you're
needs
saying in
to
our lifetime,
exist.
in
Yeah,
our sort of in
and
the
this
next
is easy
20,
to
30
achieve now
years.
with the AIs.
Mhm.
The problem is other. The problem is for the society right now is other. Our incomplete psychic world, that means the world of our feelings, actually, you know, the mental world that we have, comparing to the how technology, intelligence advances. So our psychic world, suddenly you get mad at somebody, can make a very big distraction because your intelligence, your extension, your technology is very strong now. This is the world that, so it needs to balance a little this. And this is also a psychological, a philosophical question. I think that the biggest revolution will be there, actually. Because
I think you're
I
right.
think that materialism will die. This what I said at the beginning of the show that which is extended show because of you, but it's very nice. So thanks to you, not because of you.
Mhm.
I think that the changes are so big. We all feel it, don't we? That we're living in really at the core of the big change, not only of humanity, because okay, we are humans and we say humanity, but what we are expression of this planet. But this humanity, what we are now, has created this thing that I believe, and I am generally optimistic, but I try to see it logically. That if we don't put this technology into warfare and fights and stuff, which I believe that are the last breaths of the serpent's egg of the serpent, I believe, because they understand also that you cannot hold this technology. Everybody will have it. We all have GPTs now. We all have a magical thing that we are la, 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 and it calls back about everything you want to talk about. It's crazy. And it will in front of your eyes. I mean, it will grow up faster than you. You will still feel young and everything, and it will grow in front of you from infant into grown up shit that will be magical. Magical. It'll do stuff that we cannot even imagine. So this technology is advancing so fast. It will give us ways into prolonging everything. And I don't understand it because from the point of view of a leader now, what they are after, I think, only are historical, the historical. They want to be remembered in the history.
Right.
So it's narcissism. I cannot find any other reason because everybody will be cool. I mean, you don't need any leaders when a society is cool because everything is cool. You have, you know, but some people take energy, take meaning for life, being a leader, being liked, because they were not liked when they were children, stuff like that.
Stop talking about Donnie.
Psychology.
Yeah.
That's my
Yes.
thinking. But it's so
That's it.
complicated. It's so complicated. You are right. Stephen is right. I am right. And we are all right. Because we will be living in so many. I mean, everybody will create its own reality. And sometimes we will meet each other in these realities. Or we will create a Stephen. I will create a Stephen on what I know.
And
On
here's
Stephen
what's
will tell
interesting.
me,
For all we know, we're in that reality right now, and we could be in the year 10 million and not even know it because we're living in this reality right now for this moment.
yeah, but there was a time before that reality. So maybe it's the time before that reality. At
Right?
least for me, it's very persuasive that we are not living in a simulation. We could be, but if we are, then we think that what the fuck, everything is simulation. So whatever I do, nothing matters, or something like that.
It
This
matters in
this
the
is also
simulation.
meaning
That's the
lost.
philosophy of it. That's the philosophy of it. In the simulation, it matters. So even when you're playing a game with your children on a board game, the board game is inconsequential, but in the game, it matters. Who
Yeah,
wins or loses when you're playing Monopoly or whatever it may be. Um, yeah, these are just throwaway thoughts. These are
Yeah.
philosophical questions. But I can't help thinking we are really at a very, very critical part of human development, generally
Yeah.
speaking. That it doesn't get away from me,
yeah,
and we
it's for
I
live
agree.
sure.
and we're living through it,
It's for
and we're living
sure.
through it.
Yeah,
Well, and
it's
especially us because
and
we're
we're cool,
But
right?
poor. Yeah.
But what
Well,
else
you know
can
what's
you
I was
cool?
be?
so
What
But
else
we
can
are
you be?
because think about it. When we were kids, if you wanted to make a phone call, you had to drop a nickel in a phone booth or a dime or a
it's a
quarter. You know,
mechanical thing.
yeah, you had to go to somewhere and find it. If you wanted to watch TV, you had to get up off the couch and change the television. If
Yeah,
you wanted to record something, you got your cassette player out to the radio station when that song came on just to get that song on your cassette player. So we lived through the dark ages, if you will, to this generation. And now we're seeing
it's
this
really important.
generation
It's
with
no, no.
everything.
It's really important. You said that you had to when the song comes on your radio. You had your
Yeah.
cassette player. You'd have
Yep.
it. Be standing there with your finger over the record, and you
No, I
press
had the
record,
mic.
and
I
that
already had
cassette.
it pressed. You wait for the mic. You flip the mic
Okay,
switch.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Now on your phone, you can
Yeah.
say, "Hey Siri, play," but Bohemian
Oh, yeah.
Rhapsody.
Yep. It plays it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but at its time, the cassette was a very high tech because there
Hmm.
were some other tapes, bigger ones. So you
Eight
could have
track.
Walkmans, for example. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
have the music with you. So it was a revolution, which
Yeah.
we now see. And there was a Greek philosopher, Kazantzakis, who was born a few kilometers from here in the village. He said that he has a philosophical book about life, and so that one of the first things that he says that we are part of a chain that is endless. And this is true. We are always part of a chain, and that's what we are now. Maybe the guys in okay, let's not say 500 years, let's say 30 years, will say, they were having changes. We are having changes now. I see different realities already.
Yeah,
Right.
I think so. I think this is what we say 500 years. It's not even thinkable. I think let's think only from the realization of now, which is already 500 years, because we can extend that. We say, let's make us live 100 years, but
Right.
without much problems. Okay, let's do it in 20 years. Maybe we'll say, look guys, we now have technology already for the next 300 years. Let's implement slowly this. Yes, so this is how you achieve, prolong the stuff. But death is natural thing. It will always happen. Somebody will kill you, or even yourself will at some point will say, I don't want to live anymore. I want to become
Right.
something else, because that's death. I want to
Adam,
That's a whole
become
that's
nother
something
wonderful
discussion.
thought.
else.
I'm going to take your leave, gentlemen, Adam and Stephen. I just came
And
just
wait a
to
minute.
just
We're
to.
going to end the thought on that. It was good to see you, Adam. Great show. And we're going to end the thought on that. That sometimes you just want to be something else. Yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed the extended show. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and we will see everybody next Monday. Cheers, everybody.